All right, ladies and gentlemen. Good to see everyone here. From Cohagen to Tahiti, all the way down to Ogata-san. It's good to see everyone here. So let's go ahead and get the formalities out of the way, shall we? Yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here. I had to get that fresh cut. I really did. That hair was just up on my head for way too long. And I just had to get it cut. I shaved my mustache. I'm keeping this because I'm more of a goatee type dude, but I like keeping my head shaved. But Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to yet another One Piece chapter reaction and review. Let's do a little bit of a recap, shall we? We just found out that the world government has a floating nuclear weapon that they can just fire on any kingdom they want to completely eradicate. So it gives brand new meaning to when the Gorosei look at Im-sama and says, what light needs to be extinguished next? Didn't know that the light that needs to be extinguished meant completely eradicating an entire kingdom and wiping it off the map as if it never existed at all. We also see Sabo, who seemingly looks like he got caught up in the blast of the Lelouch kingdom that was completely destroyed. Luffy confirms that him being the pirate king is not his end goal. It's just a means to an end. So all these years of us looking at Luffy and his goals, all these years of looking at Luffy and thinking that him wanting to be the king of the pirates was, the final step of his journey, that's not his dream. He's always been saying that he's going to become the king of the pirates, but he's never said that was his dream. His dream is completely different, which means that being king of the pirates is a means to an end. It's just on the way of Luffy achieving his dream. All these years, we thought that that was going to be his end goal. It's not. Luffy has a dream in mind, but being king of the pirates is just on the path of that. So it just brings whole new meanings to what Luffy's dream actually is, and he revealed it to his crewmates, but we don't know what it is. And they say like, wow, that's crazy. That might even be impossible, but it's totally like you. And as this is going on, a big, massive water well just swells up in front of the Sunny a couple days after the whole event of the Lelouch Kingdom. And, well, Jewelry Bonnie pops out, and she comes face to face with the Straw Hats. So now we get to see what happens with this chapter. Ozzy, good to see you. Dewan the Don, good to see you as well. Psycho, always good to see you. It's good to see everyone. And Grant, it's good to see you. So the thing about this chapter is that we're going on break after this chapter, but the next chapter drops on October 10th, which is another Monday. This is just like the last time we came off of break, and then the last chapter released on a Monday. The next chapter for One Piece drops on October 10th, so it's going to be on a Monday on that week, but we're not going on break for My Hero Academia or Jujutsu Kaisen. So when I go through those today, those will just have next week episodes, next week chapters, but One Piece is going on break. Chapter 1061! I'm going to keep it to the singular page this time. Chapter 1061, Future Island Egghead. What? Future Island Egghead? That's a peculiar title. But we get Germa 66's an Emotionless Excursion, Volume 19, Escape! A successful rescue of Niji and Yonji. So all of the Vinsmoke siblings with Caesar have made it out of their fight with Katakuri and Oven, and now they're making their ways to leave Whole Cake Island completely. Interesting. Also, to everyone here, if you want to see what I'm seeing, I either go to the official site on Tapas or the website of your choice, but as I say, always support the official release, whether you're looking at it on the internet or, got the physical volumes. So I'm just saying, I'm always going to say that. And it cuts to Luffy. It cuts to Luffy and Chopper still in the air as he goes, "Who's that?" And then it cuts to Chopper going, "They just popped out of the water!" And then it shows Jewelry Bonnie, flying through the air because she was in the water. She's flying through the air, and then Luffy grabs onto her, and then it cuts to her coughing going, "Who? I'm safe! Wait, where's the monster?" And then she's looking around and she goes, "Oh no, it's still down there! Look down!" And then it cuts to all the rest of the Straw Hats who are just paying attention to Jewelry Bonnie. And it cuts to, I'm going to keep these on single pages because I like the suspense of the next page. It cuts to Jewelry Bonnie going, "Look down!" And then Nami goes, "Oh good, they're still alive, but..." And then it cuts to Zoro going, "Where do those guys think they're going?" And then it cuts to Sanji going, "That little kid's yelling about something." And then it cuts to Frankie going, "Look down? What's down?" And we go to the next page and we see, oh, wow! There's a giant shark that is getting very, very close to chomping on the Sunny. Man, this thing looks like it could eat, this thing looks like it could hunt down and eat megalodons. And then it cuts to them going, "There's something under the surface!" And then I'm guessing this is Usopp crying, "Ah! It's terrifying! Get us out of here!" But yeah, a giant shark is getting close to chomping on the Sunny. And... wait. Wait. That's not a real shark. That's a mechanical shark. Future Island Egghead? Hold on. When was the last time we saw cyborg creatures? Y'all know when we saw cyborg creatures. This is when Frankie was by himself after being separated by Kuma all the way back in Sabaody Archipelago, and he came to an old laboratory that used to belong to Vegapunk, and in that resounding area were tons of cyborg creatures. This is another cyborg creature. Future Island Egghead. Are we coming up into another Vegapunk location? But they Let me stop. Let's keep going. We're only on page 4. I'm thinking. But they narrowly miss getting chomped by this cyborg giant shark. And it goes to Zoro, who already has his sword drawn, going, "What is that thing? A shark? It's too big for that. And made of metal?" "Hang on tight! We're about to hit water!" And then it cuts to Jinbei going, "Blast it! Luffy and Chopper fell into the sea! They're in trouble! Grab the helm, Frankie! Bring the ship around after us!" And then it cuts to Jinbei jumping off of the ship. It's good to have a fishman on your crew. The benefits of having a fishman on your crew. If any of your members fall overboard, this dude could instantly grab you. "Grab the helm, Frankie. Bring the ship around after us. You got it." And then it cuts to the Sunny hitting the ground. And then it cuts to Frankie going, "Ship's bottom!" And then something pops out of the bottom of the Sunny. It looks like either it's a it's a propeller. It's a, wow. I didn't know that the Sunny had its own propulsion system. Granted, this is Frankie we're talking about. Why am I even surprised by this? But this is cool. Because the Sunny falls to the water, but its sails are still furled up. And then Frankie goes, "Ship's bottom, rabbit screw!" And it's a rabbit-shaped fan. Propeller, not a fan, but a propeller that connects underneath the Sunny and then just jets the ship forward. So even if there's no wind, they have a way of making their ship go forward. Oh, that is so cool. And the shark that was trying to hit him before zones in on him and starts beeping, and it targets the Sunny and sends 2 torpedoes underwater after the Sunny, causing a massive explosion underneath the Sunny. And it's big enough to kind of launch the Sunny out of the water just a little bit. What was that? And then it shows the Sunny kind of rocking a little bit, and all the rest of the members doing their best to hold on to the Sunny as Frankie goes, "Look out, we're gonna capsize!" And then it cuts to someone going, "Robin, Nami!" I think that might be Sanji who's saying this. "Robin, Nami!" And then And then it goes to underwater as it shows Jinbei swimming after Luffy, Chopper, and Jewelry Bonnie. Them being Devil Fruit users, they're pretty much dead in the water. And it cuts to him zooming in quickly as he goes, "Luffy, Chopper, don't worry, I'm here. What was that exploding sound I just heard? Hang in there, you three. We're heading for the surface." And then it shows Jinbei, getting to the surface as he goes, "Whoa, look at this current. Not much a rudder can do in this." And as he's up on the surface of the water, the cyborg shark, the mecha shark, starts to zone in on both Luffy and company. This kind of reminds me of the mechanical shark from James and the Giant Peach a little bit. I'm getting those types of vibes. And it starts to zone in on Jinbei and starts to aim at him as he goes, "Huh?" And he fires at Jinbei. And he goes, "A cannon? We've got to dive down to escape. Take as big a breath as you can." And it shows Luffy, Jewelry Bonnie, and Chopper with what strength they have, holding as much breath as they can, as they can, because seawater drains them of energy and stamina. So even them just breathing in is tiring to them. And then it shows Jinbei jetting underwater before the explosion happens. And then he sees the explosion, and then it cuts to the Sunny, which is in fact capsized and underwater. It is literally upside down and underwater. Think at World's End when Jack was trying to make the Black Pearl flip upside down in order for them to leave the land of the dead. It's pretty much underwater and upside down. And it cuts to one of the crew members thinking, "The current's so fast we can't surface." And then it cuts to I think it's a cyborg shark. It's cyborg, because it's licking its lips as it spins around and looks at the Sunny. And then the shark gets surprised by someone in a mechanical suit that appears behind the shark, and it shocks the shark. And whoever's in this suit looks at the shark and then proceeds to hit the shark hard enough to pretty much destroy its body. You see the spray of metal parts go everywhere and blood as well. And then it shows the rest of the Straw Hats as they're just floating in the water right now, desperately trying to, they're all the Straw Hats are in the water, and everyone's trying to hold their breath as best they can. And then we go to a nearby island, Naval Branch G16. Yo, it's Tashigi! Yo, do you know what this means? Have you finished those errands? I'm sorry. But the last time we saw Tashigi, she was on her way to Vegapunk. Why are we cutting to Tashigi right now? Navy HQ Captain Tashigi. And she goes, "It's time for your medicine, kids. You can do it." And then all the giant kids that traveled with Tashigi all this time from Punk Hazard are there with her right now. With one of the kids going, "Okay, but I'm only drinking this because you said so, Tashigi." And the other kids there are going, "Gross." Blah. And then the one giant girl, the one who's the most sensible and most mature out of the whole group goes, I think I shrunk a lot so far." Wow. Yo, someone has figured out how to reverse the gigantification of the children, because they're not as big as they used to be. Is this the chapter? We're only on page 10. Is this the chapter? I'm sorry. There's one thought that's lingering in my mind right now. But the girl goes, "I think I shrunk a lot so far." And then Tashigi goes, that phlegm doesn't want to leave, I'm telling you. "You have. I hardly recognize you, Mocha." That's her name, Mocha. Mocha says, "I think I shrunk a lot so far." And then Tashigi goes, "You have. I hardly recognize you, Mocha." And then a woman walks up going, "Tashigi, do you have a minute? I'm getting real sick of that Helmeppo kid. Can't you do something about him? Navy HQ G-14 Base Commander Vice Admiral Dahl. And then it cuts to Shigi going, I'm afraid I can't blame him. His best friend's safety is in question. Because, Helmeppo was with Koby, and Koby got kidnapped by Blackbeard. And Captain Koby is a valued officer who came after me. And then it cuts to Helmeppo, who's just crying his eyes out. Navy HQ Lieutenant Commander of Sword, Helmeppo. Please, guys, we're supposed to be comrades. And then it cuts to a woman that's right next to Helmeppo, as she says, I'm begging you too, sir. Captain Koby's done so much for me. Navy HQ Commander of Sword, Hibari. This is a new person. Interesting. You gotta go with us to Pirate Island. We need this, Your Highness. And then it cuts to someone else going, Please, Your Highness. Yeah, but you're talking about Pirate Island, Blackbeard's hideout. A place crawling with so many pirates, every surface is pochmarked from the constant shootouts. Navy HQ Rear Admiral of Sword, Prince Gruss. Prince Gruss. That's why they call it full of lead. And then Helmeppo says, but we're so close to Egghead. We could take the Seraphim. Have you lost your minds? Take a step back and reassess. Take a step back and reassess. We don't even have contact with Drake at this point. There's nothing we can do. Get it through your heads. And then it cuts to Team Luffy again. And then it cuts to someone going, do you seriously not know who I am? We're both part of the worst generation. Our names have been associated this whole time. I was there in Sabaody 2 years ago. Oh, so you're the worst too, huh? And it cuts to Jewelry Bonnie, shirtless, as she's wringing out her clothes. If Sanji was here, he'd probably turn to stone. And she goes, I'm Bonnie, and just to be clear, we're enemies. But thanks for saving me. No prob, Baki. And automatically, Luffy is already getting people's names wrong. And then it cuts to Luffy wringing out his clothes as Chopper shakes himself dry. Wow, we don't really see Chopper without his hat on all that often. So we see his little his big old reindeer head. Nah, that's cold. This guy's supposed to be an emperor? What's up with your bounty poster with your hair all white? The papers were making a big deal over you. Oh, that's what I look like when I'm free. Oh. So he sees Gear 5 as his most free. And there's emphasis on the word free here. It's emboldened here. Oh, that's what I look like when I'm free. What does that mean? And what happened to your crew? They're fine, I bet. I can't believe you have Jinbei first son of the sea. And then Jinbei goes, and what about your ship and crew? I came here alone. That metal monster ate my ship. Speaking of eating, I'm hungry, as she puts her, top back on. And then it cuts to Luffy as he goes, let's look for a restaurant. I'm starving too. And then Chopper goes, do you have any money, Luffy? And then Bonnie goes, no, you ignorant fools. There are no restaurants here. Huh? This is a government island. Let me explain. It's called Egghead, a place 500 years in the future, they say. The island that houses Dr. Vegapunk's laboratory. Vegapunk? Hey, I know that name. Yeah, and I'm gonna give him a piece of my mind. Wait, is Vegapunk here? Is Vegapunk here? Is Vegapunk here? The last island where Frankie was at, that was his old laboratory, but it was far more advanced than anything. And that's the reason why Frankie has so many advancements in his body, because of Vegapunk's old lab. But this is Vegapunk's current lab. Is Vegapunk here? What? Is Vegapunk here? But Bonnie says, yeah, and I'm going to give him a piece of my mind. Then it cuts to the giants. Wow, okay, so my scale of this robot was far bigger than I thought. Because this robot that destroyed the big metal shark is big enough to carry the Sunny in its hands. And then it cuts to Frankie, who's losing his mind over seeing a giant robot, and everyone else is looking, and then it shows Usopp losing his mind, and apparently Caribou got let out as well, because he's laying on the floor out in the open, as both Frankie and Usopp go, giant robot! And then Robin is just looking on, and then Brooke is just looking on, as someone who's sitting in the cockpit of this robot goes, no good, another failure, blasted. Why isn't it possible to control the urges of living creatures? And then Sanji goes, look, someone popped out. And then she's looking, going, well, drat. And then Frankie goes, I don't know who that is, but thanks for saving us, whoever you are. And then the girl goes, the only things I ordered the Mecha Shark to do were recon, report, and bombard. Don't want it to eat anything because no valuables are left behind. An error in the programming, I suppose. Now, just a moment, you filthy pirates. Who said anything about saving you? I'm just a humble genius scientist hired by the government. You can call me Dr. Vegapunk. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up? Excuse me? What? Excuse me? I'm sorry. I haven't seen chat at all. You can call me Dr. Vegapunk. Is this the Vegapunk? Or is this someone related to Vegapunk? Because you can be a Dr. Vegapunk and just be a doctor and have the last name. So, because one thing I'm noticing here on her jumpsuit, because she's dressed up in order to pilot this mech. On her jumpsuit, she has what looks to be like the word called punk. Punk hazard. Vegapunk hazard. Why did it take me that long to put that together? But she has the word punk on her jumpsuit, but underneath the punk is number 2. So before I get off into this theory that she's Dr. Vegapunk, I'm guessing she's related to Vegapunk. The Vegapunk that we know. Because the person who's been heading Vegapunk, all these big operations with the name Vegapunk, has like this appearance of an elderly man. But she has number 2 under the punk on her clothes. So could she be his right hand person? Or is this Vegapunk themselves? I got so many thoughts in my mind, but the fact that it has like 02 underneath the punk makes me think that she's the second in command, and Vegapunk that we know of is the one that's heading everything. I could be wrong, but the fact that we got a Vegapunk now, I don't even know what to make of this. Wow. This one here is a head scratcher. Is this actually the Dr. Vegapunk or an offspring? That's what I'm wondering, Ozzy. But let me see what you guys... That's the end of the chapter. We're going to break! We're going to break after we get Dr. Vegapunk dropped? What? Hold on. Let me look this up. And also, Ozzy, you said that Roger's base got spoiled on this? Oh my goodness. That is most unfortunate. I'm so sorry. But Okay, so here's the thing. Here's the thing. I believe that my theory that Vegapunk is the head Vegapunk is a guy, and that the second one is either like what who is it that said that? Dewan the Don says like is a pacifista. That Vegapunk is a pacifista originated from his DNA. It's got to be, especially if the Seraphim are kids as well. Vegapunk has always been referred to as an old man. Exactly what I was getting to, Ogata-san, because I pulled up his page. A Marine from G5 says like he's an old man, suggesting he's at least an elderly age. Also, during Kuma's explanation on his pacifista modification, he seems to wear yellow gloves and a striped shirt while wearing a lab coat. I wouldn't be surprised, however, if Vegapunk, who was part of MADS, which was a scientific group that was doing dealings with the lineage factor and cloning, I wouldn't be surprised if he made like a female version of himself. But wow, we got a Vegapunk. I don't think it's the Vegapunk, but we have a Vegapunk. I knew Vegapunk was going to be dropped in this chapter the moment I saw the giant kids. The moment I saw Tashigi. The moment I started piecing together the title of Future Island Egghead. We are now at Vegapunk's... Wow. I just realized where we were. The Straw Hats have just come across the island laboratory of the world government's most valued asset. It would be the Straw Hats that would just land in front of Vegapunk's doorstep. It would be them. Nobody else. It just would be them. Lord Jesus. We are now at the main lab island of Vegapunk himself. But now we got another Vegapunk. Who is this woman to Vegapunk? Granddaughter? Clone? Android? It begs the question. There's so many things, and literally any of them could be right, because this is Vegapunk we're talking about. And that eggshell gotta be from Roger's ship. I don't know. But the chapter ends with her saying, "You can call me Dr. Vegapunk." And then Frankie's going like, huh? But let me go back here. Let me see this island. Like, I see... You say that eggshell came from Roger's ship, but I don't see how, because, I mean, the egg that was on the Oro Jackson was not the same size as whatever is on this island. I know it looks like a giant egg in the background, hence the name Egghead Island, but the egg that was on the Oro Jackson was definitely a lot smaller than whatever this egg shape is on this island. Looks like Frankie's about to get some upgrades. Like, here's the thing, though. Frankie has been using the same stuff since the beginning of the time skip, and he's never shown off anything majorly new. So now, since we're here on the island of Vegapunk's main laboratory, which Jewelry Bonnie says is 500 years into the future, oh, your boy Frankie's about to get a major glow up. Because everything that Frankie has is old tech from Vegapunk. Old tech. That he's strong now using old abandoned tech from Vegapunk. That's what he's been using this whole time during the time skip. Now, Frankie is on the main island of Vegapunk's main laboratory that's 500 years in the future of stuff he's working on now. Oh yeah, Frankie's about to get some upgrades. And wasn't the egg on Roger's ship have polka dots? Yes. It also was an island size. The Oro Jackson was massive, but it wasn't big enough for it to have an egg on it that pretty much eclipsed the entirety of an island. So it's not the same. They've updated the wiki story arcs, and now Egghead is the first arc of the final saga. Egghead. The Egghead arc. This is going to be the arc where we get Vegapunk fully revealed. We got someone calling themselves Vegapunk, but I don't think it's the main guy. I think either this person is related to Vegapunk, was created by Vegapunk, or either one of those two. Or it could wind up being Vegapunk themselves, and we just been told that the Vegapunk we know of is the wrong one, but I highly doubt that's the case. What a chapter to bring us on breakup from. We get Vegapunk just dropped in front of us. Not the Vegapunk, but a Vegapunk. A Vegapunk is something already. Let me go through chat here and let me see what you guys have said. Let's see. Kobe got himself a girlfriend. Well, he's got himself a southern girl. Body's got that southern drawl. Oh, please, you got to go find Kobe for me. Ain't nothing wrong with a southern girl. I'll give the artists and animators, say, 5 days before the artworks of Doll will proliferate. Oh, it won't take long. Kobe got a, yeah, what a doll. What a doll, pun intended. Better hope she doesn't respond to that name the same way Lola did in Space Jam, the first one. Doll should be finished by the end of the night. Doll doesn't do it for me. She is 3 or 4 this chapter with Bonnie and Hibari 1 and 2. First Balloon, Headbutt, and now Boggy. Okay, Oda serving us nice before the break. He is. Ravi, good to see you. Sorry I'm late. You're fine. Iron Giant, seriously. Crazy how close Vegapunk's laboratory is close to Wano and Elbaf. Makes you wonder why the log post didn't connect to this island. Maybe Vegapunk's got something that can make it so that no one can find where his lab is. Makes you wonder. He's probably figured out a way to make it so that log post can never point to his island, so that no one can ever make his way to his island, and only the world government knows where he is. I feel like log post jamming is easy for someone like Vegapunk. Crazy chicks dig giant robots. Living here in Jersey, fighting villains from afar. You gotta find first gear in your giant robot car. God, I miss Megas XLR. This chapter makes me thirsty for some reason. You know the reason. Oh, by the way, Roger's Bits was spoiled on the Vegapunk reveal. I feel so sorry that people, for some reason, feel that have this massive need to just spoil things. You're not doing anyone any favors by saying like, oh, Roger, guess what? Vegapunk was revealed in this chapter. You couldn't let the man just find that out on his own so he can have that closure. Now, the only thing that'll ever be around Vegapunk and how he found out about it is not from the chapter, but from some random Yahoo on the internet spoiling it for him. I know what that's like. I'll never have that specific closure for finding out that Obito was Toby all these years when someone told it to me. There's just something about having the closure of seeing it for yourself without being told. There's that closure. And Roger will never get that because of that one random person. Let me drink some milk for Vegapunk, do my body good. Milk does the body good. This one here is a head scratcher. Is this actually the Dr. Vegapunk or an offspring? 4 to 6 days for the really good stuff on Femme Vegapunk. Ms. Dr. Vegapunk. That Vegapunk is a pacifist. Okay, I read that. No major issues. Maybe Fempunk is a Nemu type of character. Maybe. And Vegapunk is basically the Mayuri Kurotsuchi. Here's some theories that Vegapunk transferred his consciousness into another body somehow. Especially if she has the knowledge of Vegapunk, it makes the most sense that way. Maybe. Vegapunk has always been referred to as an old man. Yeah, we know that. Either way, it was said earlier whether it was said earlier whether that's a real Dr. Vegapunk or not. Call me Krillin because I need an android. Looks like Frank's about to get super. Let's say this is One Piece where the creatures are huge beyond imaginations. Yo, Cdes, what you know about Megas XLR? Man, don't you know how old I am? I'm old enough to know about Dumb and old. I was born during the time when Dumb and Dumber had a Cartoon Network cartoon. That's how old I am. But I know about Megas XLR. I mean, that's what got me into a massive love of giant mechs. Before Gundam, for me, there was, well, I'm not really into Gundam, but before I knew of Gundam, I knew of Megas XLR. Oh, doll, let me get out. Just came to see you. Oh, see, though, right. We're touching on a lot of spoiler. So we're talking about a lot of spoiler stuff that's going on here. But interesting. This whole chapter is interesting. So first and foremost, we get introduced to more members of Sword. So we get introduced to Vice Admiral Dahl. We get introduced to Hibari, and we find out that the person who's basically been chilling, because one of y'all said that he's actually been chilling about 100 chapters ago during the Gang Beige Oh My Family arc, and he's been seen there. Maybe the Helmeppo scene will set up Full Alert Island as a Kobe rescue arc or something else entirely, but I think the actual fight against Blackbeard will happen at another arc. Yes, the fight with Blackbeard will happen later. To what end, I couldn't possibly tell you, but it just, man, we are here. We are here. I can't believe that we're here at Vegapunk's island. I knew at some point we were going to come across Vegapunk, because I'm pulling up Vegapunk here. I'm pulling up the page for Vegapunk for this page, because a short summary is the crew find themselves attacked by a mechanized shark. To save Luffy, Chopper, and Bonnie, who are still trapped in the water, Jinbei jumps in to save them. Despite Frankie's attempt to get the Sunny away, the shark uses a cannon, sending the ship underwater. Meanwhile, Sword members Helmeppo and Hibari unsuccessfully attempt to convince Prince Gruss to allow them to use a Seraphim to rescue Kobe from the Blackbeard pirates. As Bonnie introduces herself and reveals they are at a government island called Egghead, the rest of the Straw Hats are saved by a giant robot piloted by a young girl claiming to be Dr. Vegapunk. Claiming to be Dr. Vegapunk. Claiming to be Dr. Vegapunk. So the big takeaways from this chapter is the Thousand Sunny is attacked by a giant mechanical shark. Jinbei jumps off the ship to rescue Luffy, Chopper, and Bonnie. The four are attacked by the shark's weapons, sending them away. The Thousand Sunny, with the rest of the crew, gets knocked underwater by the shark's cannon. The Marine-based G-14 and Vice Admiral Dahl are introduced. Tashigi and the children from Punk Hazard are at the base. The children are revealed to have been regularly taking medicine, which has been slowly helping them shrink down to normal size. Which means that Vegapunk has figured out a way to cure forced gigantification. Prince Gruss tried to capture Beige in the cover chapter story. I agree, it's time for Luffy to Teach down a few pegs. He's getting full of himself. Soon he'll be full of lead. I'm sorry, that was horrible. I remember that cartoon. It used to come on Toonami. Yeah, it's old too. I think one chapter, I had it when Lloyd was trying to go on a date. But the girl wasn't interested in him because he had a gap in his tooth. So Harry tried to stick some gum in his gap and then shove the tooth back in there to shove a tooth in there so that way he try to shove it back in there so that way he can go on a date with this girl. You doing reflections since it's the last Sunday? No, I will be doing I always do reflections at the end of the month. Not the final chapter on a Sunday, but that's going to be at the end of the month, which will be on a Friday. So after I'm done with the beginning after the end and doing my reaction of that, I'll do the reflections of all the chapters afterwards. But it's always at the end of the month. Never before, unless a Sunday falls on the end of a month. There are theories about Dahl being related to Akainu. They both have the same dialect of speaking and are the only two characters in One Piece that speak this way. Interesting. What are the odds that Akainu has relatives? That's an interesting theory. Helmeppo and a sword member named Hibari are seen with the Marine group who tried to capture Chiffon. Like you guys said. Helmeppo and the aforementioned Marine Group's leader, Prince Gruss, are confirmed to be part of SWORD as well. Helmeppo and Hibari attempt to request a Seraphim to help rescue Koby from the Blackbeard pirates, but are denied. Luffy, Chopper, and Jinbei and Bonnie land on the Winter Island, Egghead, which houses Vegapunk's research lab. Bonnie reveals that she came to the New World alone and that the shark ate her entire ship. The rest of the Straw Hats are saved by a giant robot who fights off the shark. The pilot of the robot is revealed to be a young woman claiming to be Vegapunk. This is interesting. This is interesting. What a chapter to leave us out on. The thought that we just got revealed someone called Vegapunk. Claiming, so that means we're not sure if it's actually Vegapunk. That's the reason why I was suspect about it. Because if it was truly Vegapunk, and if you pay attention to the part of her clothes that has Punk next to it, under her coat, it has number 2. If it was really Vegapunk, wouldn't it make more sense for Vegapunk to have number 1 there? That's what I'm thinking, which makes me think that this is not the Vegapunk that we've all been anticipating actually seeing revealed, but a person with the name of Vegapunk, either a relative, granddaughter, daughter, whoever, but not the main Vegapunk. Wasn't Bonnie and her crew captured by Akainu? Are her crew still captured? Well, her crew was captured by Akainu. Well, she was captured by Akainu all the way back after the Marineford War. This was right after Blackbeard and his crew captured Bonnie and tried to use her for ransom to get a ship, but Akainu came instead, and they both booked it, but left her to get captured by Akainu. That was before the time skip. She's been out and about long since then. Like she was making her way out in the world and seeing all the events that were happening with Doflamingo and everybody. I mean, she wasn't captured still because she made her way all the way to Marijois. So she's been free ever since, up until this point when she was in the water. So that was 2 years ago for them. So no longer. Random question: does anyone else here play Multiverses? If so, is there a chance that any anime characters being in the game? I feel like Multiverses is dipping more into like TV shows and over anime characters. That's just how I feel about it. I don't know. But that's my thoughts about this Vegapunk person. It is not the main Vegapunk, because otherwise I feel like Oda wouldn't make that mistake of having, the main person, but have a number 2 on their shirt like that. Oda doesn't do that sort of attentions to detail. If it's the main person, he'd make sure that everything about them would make sense. A lot of the things say Punk on is Vegapunk, 1 name, or 2 Vega Punk. That's the thing. It could just be 1 name. Well, not 1 name, but Vegapunk is the last name. But the Punk part gets used in different sections, which brings up, places like Punk Hazard, Vega Punk Hazard. So that's just one random thought I had in my head. So I was like, interesting. So maybe they use the Punk part, or maybe since the way it's formulated, it's laid out on her clothes, I'd imagine. Actually, if you pay attention to the robot, it has Vega on one half and then Punk underneath it. So I feel like the clothes themselves, it probably says Vegapunk, but the words are on top of each other rather than directly next to each other. So Vega, and then underneath it, Punk, and then number 2 for her. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. The word placement. Well, actually, I could be entirely wrong, because Vegapunk, the Vega part doesn't even appear on the Punk part. So that was just my thought. I was just thinking off of the robot. So I don't. Maybe it's just the Punk part. PBS and HBO are part of the same company. Multiverses is a Fox, WB, DC, HBO genre. You're more than likely to see Big Bird before Ichigo. Yeah. Dewan is right. You're probably going to see more characters from those companies owned rather than anime characters. If there are no anime characters owned underneath any of those names, you probably won't see any anime characters in there. Plus, they'd be far too overpowered to, fight everyone competently. Then rebalancing has to happen again, and then Velma can't call the police anymore because that's problematic. But that's a whole story altogether. So it just says punk on the clothes. I feel like they just take the punk part and then just use that for licensing. Hence the name of Punk Hazard instead of Vegapunk Hazard. So I think they just got punk clothes. They're just a bunch of punks on this island. But overall, I enjoyed this chapter. First and foremost, we got Jewelry Bonnie, who apparently was making her way here to Egghead Island. We got Frankie, who's probably going to be losing his mind over the technological advancements he's about to see on this main laboratory. And mind you, this is a cold island. This is just like Punk Hazard, earlier when it was just one side was completely frozen. This entire area is cold too. Matter of fact, when you think about it, all of Vegapunk's previous laboratories have all been shrouded and covered in ice. The place where the location where Frankie was ported to, that was covered in snow and ice, and that was a snowy landscape where his old laboratory was. Punk Hazard, the one half that had the main laboratory in it, that had, like, snow covering that one. And now we got an entire island, another island, that is Vegapunk's main lab that is just covered in snow and ice as well. Another frozen landscape that the Straw Hats have to go through. This is the third I think they've had to go through. Fem Vegapunk has an earpiece, maybe an android controlled by Vegapunk, and that's a transceiver, or it could be a headset. Actually, you know what? No, it could be something else entirely, because even with her helmet off, it's still on the side of her head. So either, and plus it shows that she has the helmet on, but you don't see the transceiver on the side of her head coming out of the helmet itself. But you see it when she has the helmet off. So either she's an android or something else entirely. So many questions. What a chapter to leave me on. You'll see Double D from Ed, Edd, and Eddy before you see Goku in Multiverse. Yeah, you're right. This was a good chapter. I enjoyed this. Now, I was not expecting to get to anything Vegapunk related so soon. I thought we were just going to sail just a little bit more, or just to sail just on the ocean just a little bit more, but no, we're jumping right into the next arc, the Egghead arc, apparently. And we're going to be going, like, I feel like this is where we're going to find out so much scientific knowledge about One Piece. There is no greater place to learn scientific information than the island of where Vegapunk does all of his work. This is the place where Kuma became the first pacifista, I believe. This is where all the technological advancements of the Marines comes from. This is where all the cybernetic enhancements that Frankie has been using. This is where all the upgrades are at. This is where the pacifistas were created. This is where the Seraphim were created. This is possibly the same island where Kaido and King were both, imprisoned and experimented on. This could be the same exact place. All the scientific advancements we see in One Piece that stems from Vegapunk, we are now at that island. I did not think that we were going to go here this quickly. A lot of people were hoping for Elbaf, but this is the next best thing. The person who knows how devil fruits work, the intricate parts of how devil fruits can affect a person's body and literally give them superpowers, we are now here. Science in One Piece always confused you. Half stuff is in the past, other half the future. It kind of gives you, Naruto works the same way. How close is Egghead to Wano? We don't know how long, but it's several days because days have passed with them being out at sea. Because when Lelouch was destroyed by Im-sama, it cuts to days later after that happened, and the Straw Hats are still sailing out on the ocean, but they start getting close. So probably several days away from Wano. Probably not like a hop, skip, and a jump away, but probably several days from Wano. Which is still kind of close when you think about it, given how long it takes for people to get back and forth to places. Still want Peridot in Multiverses, even just to hear her say, "You clods," when getting wrung out. Yeah, Peridot would be an interesting character to have in Multiverses. Post Wano is so much fun. It really is. How close is Egghead? Well, I already answered that. Big Bird Han, I'm hoping to get Samurai Jack and maybe even Archer in Multiverses sometime soon. Maybe even Darkseid too. Darkseid would be interesting. But we are now here at the most technologically advanced location in all of One Piece. We are now at Vegapunk's main lab. Straw Hats always seem to find Vegapunk's islands by accident. Really? First, we have Frankie, who gets knocked there by Kuma. Did Kuma know he was going to send Frankie there? Possibly. Because this dude knows exactly where to send people. He was asking because if Kaido was captured there, he could have come back any time, right? I mean, possibly, or it could have been another lab entirely and not the main lab. It could have been a separate lab altogether. Yeah, it could have been a separate lab altogether, because why have Kaido at the main laboratory and risk destruction of pretty much all of Vegapunk's work? So have him at an off-site lab that's completely different and send all the data to the main lab. So yeah, you're actually right. I wonder how long before we see some version of a Kaido Seraphim. Because with the whole thought of the lineage factor and how they experimented on different people, like they experimented on Kaido, they experimented on King, and now we have Lunarian warlord clones that are basically the new pacifistas that are monstrously strong. So who knows who else Vegapunk has managed to clone and create into brand new hybrids. 10 years and Vegapunk finally appears. Well, I say a Vegapunk has appeared, but not the Vegapunk, Julian. I've already said how I feel. I already said what I think this person is, but I don't think it's the main Vegapunk. It is a Vegapunk, but not the Vegapunk. But we're just going to have to wait until we come out of this break in order for this to be confirmed. So many questions. But hope y'all ready for some scientific knowledge to be dropped, because apparently the Femme Vegapunk way of speaking is like an old man. Apparently, now that I think about it, a bunch of Seraphims are probably on Egghead. No one predicted this, what's going on, but I'm loving it. That's the thing I'm saying, Ravi. Apparently the Femme Vegapunk way of speaking is like an old man. Well, you can either chalk this up to two things. Either the android picked up Vegapunk's way of speaking and just imitates him, or we've been wrong that this is that the old guy is not Vegapunk. Either one of those two things. But we gotta wait until this break is over in order to fully understand this. But I'm ready for this. One thing I like about series that I'm really into is like finding out the science behind a lot of things. When I look up the wikis of characters and I look at their powers and abilities, I look at the scientific value of it. And I just like breaking it down to its most minute detail to understand how things tick and how it works, which makes me understand how powers work when it comes to Marvel superheroes or DC superheroes or characters from different series. I like detailed explanations of things. And I feel like this arc that we're about to go through is one that's where we're going to get revealed a whole bunch of things about the science of One Piece that we've all been wondering but could never figure out. And if we do in fact get Vegapunk to appear in the flesh in this chapter, this could be the moment where Oda did say in the past that a certain person will reveal the true nature of devil fruits, or reveal the true nature of devil fruits. That's what I'm hoping for. In 2 weeks, well, we're going on break next week, and then we're coming back on the 10th. Of October. We're coming back on the 10th of October. So it's just a 1 week break and then an extra day until Monday. So it's not 2 weeks, but it's a week break. But I'm looking forward to this whole arc because I want so many things to be revealed about the science of One Piece. We'll understand so much after this chapter, We understood. We went through a chapter of Wano where we got to see more applications of Haki, and there was more explanations of how Haki. That was when it comes to explanations of different concepts in One Piece. Haki was explained to a monstrous degree during the Wano arc. I feel like we're going to get some major scientific explanations of One Piece during this one. And I'm looking forward to it. MatPat really should start doing theories on One Piece one day, maybe. That's just a theory. A One Piece theory. But we're just going to have to wait until the next chapter. A Vegapunk has shown up. Probably not the Vegapunk, but a Vegapunk nonetheless. And now, and here's the funny thing. We see Franky, and he has his own little advancements for the ship. And then we get like a giant robot that pretty much just shows up Franky and his advancements, which means that this is probably going to be Franky's arc, where he actually gets a moment to get major upgrades. Because he's using old Vegapunk stuff in him. They're monstrously strong, and they're advanced, but they're old compared to what Vegapunk is doing now. So this has got to be Franky's chapter. This has got to be Franky's arc. This has got to be the moment where Franky gets an emphasis, where he finally gets an upgrade. Because Sanji's got an upgrade with his new exoskeleton that he can use in combination with armament Haki. And now he has Ifrit Jamba. Then we have Zoro, who has learned how to harness the full power of Enma, and now he has a brand new sword style, the King of Hell style. We have Luffy with Gear 5. We have Robin with Demonio Fleur. We have Nami, and she now has Zeus inside of her climb attack. Her magic climb attack. It's Franky's turn to get a major upgrade, because the dude hasn't had anything new since the time skip started. Since the time skip started, he hasn't had anything new. Now, on an island that is Vegapunk's main laboratory, this is where he can finally get his upgrades. And I'm happy. I hope Franky gets some major upgrades, not only for himself, but also for the Sunny as well. I can't think of any other greater place to get upgrades for the rest of your adventure than the main laboratory of the world's smartest man. That's just me. But that's all I got to say. And Brook, he's shown some new moves, but not anything major to surpass his Soul Solid, though. He's shown new moves. But yeah, Franky needs a moment to work. Franky and Brook need moments where they get some major upgrades for themselves as well. Specifically, Franky. The only Straw Hat who hasn't gotten an upgrade is Franky and Usopp. Okay, so Brook, Franky, and Usopp. Usopp, he has observation Haki, but he's not aware of how to truly harness it. So, yeah, those are the only crew members that really need some upgrades. I'm not too worried about Chopper, though. So, Usopp needs an upgrade for what he's doing, because he's been doing the same thing. Franky needs an upgrade, because he's been doing the same thing. And Brook probably needs an update to his overall moveset a little bit going forward. Chopper didn't upgrade. I mean, he's shown that he can use a Rumble Ball with the new formula that Caesar created in order to use his Monster Point longer, but it has the unintended drawback of basically doing to him what Gear 3 used to do to Luffy. Gear 5, Freedom Mode, or Free Man. I mean, Luffy calls that form. That's me when I'm at my most free. Gear 5, Freedom Man. Freedom Man, or Free Man, or Free Mode. There's so many thoughts of what to call Gear 5 and what to call that state of being that he's in. But let me not keep you here any longer than I already have. I got to move on to My Hero Academia, and then after that, Jujutsu Kaisen, because some real cool things are happening in those two chapters. So that's been my overall review of this chapter. Was, first of all, great. We're finally here at Vegapunk's lab. Did I think we were going to get here first? No, but I'm happy that we are here, because now so many questions are about to just be answered just from us being on this island now. I'm excited to see where this journey takes us on the island of Vegapunk, and also why Juri Bonney is there as well. So many questions, but we're just gonna have to wait until the next chapter. We're going on break, so don't expect me to do it next week. But that's all I got. I had a fantastic time going through this chapter. This was great. This was great. The fact that we get Vegapunk's name dropped in this chapter, I'm looking so happy. Sooner or later, you will get into Black Clover. You'll love Yami. Oh, I love Yami already. I stopped at when Yami and what is his name? Vengeance got kidnapped by that dude with the bone magic. That's where I stopped at the anime. I don't know where the story is for Black Clover afterwards. So at some point, I'll catch up to Black Clover. I'll get to it. But that's all I got, ladies and gentlemen. I got to move on to My Hero Academia and then Jujutsu Kaisen afterwards. And then I'm going out to eat with my family. And then I'm going to rest for the rest of the day. I don't know if I'm going to do a stream on Monday. I'm definitely doing my voiceover stream on Tuesday, so look forward to that. But I'll keep you all posted for anything new. I put it in the community tab, what voices you guys want me to do during the voiceover stream, so be sure to put your choices and what you want to hear in that community post in the comments, so that way I can mark them down for all of you. But I'm done with my reaction to One Piece. This One Piece reaction was great, got me out of my seat twice. There was some hot, fine William Vengeance. Thank you, Grant. Vengeance. I knew his name was Vengeance, but I forgot the first name. But there was some gorgeous looking ladies up in this chapter, from Doll to Hibari to, well, Tashigi is always there. And then we got this Dr. Vegapunk woman that steps up. So there's just so many questions. Probably will be answered in the next chapter. But I'm done. All I can say at the end of the day is, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then like, subscribe, and maybe even consider becoming a member, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples. We are finally here, ladies and gentlemen. We are here at Dr. Vegapunk's lab.